What is up everyone, Sean here, and welcome to the next portion of my E3 thoughts and all that stuff for the Hawke Talks here. And today we're going to be talking about Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, pretty much the big three of E3. Now first off, we're going to be starting off with Microsoft. Now this conference was actually surprisingly one of the most interesting conferences I've seen for E3 2017 here, because of what they revealed and the way they did it. And first off, they talked about their newest upcoming, quote-unquote, the most powerful console that they're going to be selling here. And that is revealed as the Xbox One X. One of the most ridiculous names, once again, for the Xbox here. I mean, Xbox One itself already really screws up everything else. But, you know, they just got to keep on rolling with that, you know. And they had the Xbox One S. And now they have the Xbox One X, which was previously known as Project Scorpio. And I thought honestly they were gonna go with Scorpio. I think that would have been a pretty cool name. It's pretty simple and it sounds pretty fierce, so it kind of gives off that kind of power sort of vibe here. But unfortunately, they kind of stuck with their gimmick, and unfortunately, it is gonna be called the Xbox One X. Funny enough, if you actually try to make it into an acronym, it will just come out as Xbox. Think about that for a second. But anyways, let's move on to what was also revealed for the console here. So first off, this console, of course, it's gonna be more powerful. It has all this the vape chamber cooler thing and all that stuff. It basically is gonna be a lot more powerful than the previous Xbox. It's gonna be really small, and one of the most interesting things about it, that it's still $500 or $499. And that was the same price for the other Xbox One, or the first Xbox One when it first came out. And I think that was one of the things that killed it, honestly. When it first came out, I think when it really killed the launch power that was, you know, Xbox One here, comparing to the first PS4. That being, you know, $400, it was pretty much like the console that was quote unquote saving us from Microsoft here during time. But I think Microsoft is kind of sort of coming back, especially with the things that are coming up, such as the backwards compatibility, now expanding soon with the original Xbox games. I think that's really cool. PlayStation 4 still has not, you know, come around and do that, and I think that's one of the biggest weaknesses for this generation this time around. And I think Xbox One is slowly climbing up there. Maybe if PS4 doesn't really, you know, get around that, I think Xbox One can potentially take it for this generation here. But for now, it's still kind of like, you know, an open field, I guess we can say. And of course, with the Xbox One X, all other games will naturally get some updates, just like the PS4 Pro has that update for certain games here. For example, for the Xbox games, you know, we're gonna get Gears of War 4 and Forza, Halo 2, Halo Wars, Killer Instinct, and Minecraft. Those games are some of the games that will receive that, you know, big old upgrade or update, and it'll definitely look pretty at least, and will show off the power somewhat for the Xbox One here. And after that, there were games presented back to back, and I think that was a really nice touch on Microsoft's conference, and it was literally back to back, so I think that was really cool. It you know, kind of started slow, and then we started to get the more important stuff, which was the games. So we got Forza Motorsport 7, we got Metro Exodus, of course Assassin's Creed Origins, Deep Rock Galactic, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, State of Decay 2, and they also announced that Minecraft is going fully multi-platform, which is really cool. I think that is a really cool move on Mojang, considering that, you know, there are a lot of Minecrafts on a bunch of consoles and systems, you know, even, you know, on phones, tablets, PCs, of course, and the consoles. And I think even the Switch will have that treatment as well, so everyone can cross play, everyone can play together anywhere, anytime, I guess. And I think that's a really cool move. So if I ever consider, you know, putting my time into Minecraft, I don't really have to worry about, you know, kind of being left out because, hey, crossplay, yay, right? And the one I have to really point out the most here is Dragon Ball FighterZ or FighterZ. This is one of the games I've dreamed of. You know, seeing a anime of mine that's, you know, one of my top animes of all time being set in a ArcSys format fighting game. I think it's a really cool idea, and that's a really good move on ArcSys, and I think this is gonna be a huge hit, considering that Dragon Ball has one of the biggest anime fan bases of all time here. And wow, I think whenever it was first leaked and officially revealed, I was blown away. A Dragon Ball fighting game that's an actual fighting game made by actual people who make fighting games such as Guilty Gear. I think that's awesome. I think it's a really good move on them, and I think it's perfect. It just lines up so well because ArcSys just really does character intros and presentations so well. And of course they got the fighting mechanic down, and of course Guilty Gear being one of the hardest fighting games to really learn, it is a lot of intimidation for the newcomers. But you know, if you're a big fighting game fan, I think it's just fun no matter what. But Dragon Ball, ArcSys, that is a great combination. And seeing some of the character intros already for Dragon Ball FighterZ or FighterZ, whatever, it's just all coming together so well. And I definitely will play as Cell, and hopefully they'll put Piccolo in there, and maybe hopefully they'll put, you know, the movie characters later on, such as Cooler or Brawly or whatever. I think they should have a pretty solid roster, considering that it is going to be a 3v3 game. It will have a lot more characters throughout time, but maybe when it first launches, it'll probably only have, like, probably at most 24 or something. Or, I don't know, who really knows. But nonetheless, we are getting a Dragon Ball fighting game that's actually a fighting game that's not Budokai Tenkaichi or Xenoverse, no offense. But this is really, really awesome, you know, considering that, again, ArcSys does these character interests really well, and they just show off characters just, oh, so well. Really, really reminds me definitely of Guilty Gear, funny enough. I think this is just such a perfect anime being made by ArcSys, who, you know, have been veterans when it comes to anime fighting games here. So it does give me some hope when it comes to other animes in the future. You know, hopefully they'll take up One Piece. I think that'll be really cool. And other animes, maybe such as Naruto or Boruto or whatever. I think that'd be really cool if they're really up to it and they are allowed to do so. You know, I think this half of this decade is just dedicated to fighting games. I think this is the renaissance of fighting games. There have been so many good fighting games coming out, or just fighting games nonetheless here, you know, including Street Fighter V, as, you know, a lot of people are talking bad about it, but, you know, it is a fighting game that came out nonetheless here during this era. And you have Tekken 7, you have Injustice 2, and, you know, Mortal Kombat X, and now, of course, you have, you know, Guilty Gear Revelator 2, and now, you know, later on we'll have Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and later on we'll have Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's just absolutely mind-blowing of how many fighting games we're getting at once here. It's just really cool, and I think, you know, again, Dragon Ball FighterZ will be a huge hit here. I do have a lot of hope for this. And then we have more games featured in this conference. Sea of Thieves has caught my interest a lot more than expected because it is a pirate game. It is, you know, all about pirates, of course, which I do like, you know, especially with One Piece, but that's a whole nother story. But Sea of Thieves, you know, looks really cool. I hope, you know, it does come out as a really good fleshed out game. It does have a lot of potential, and especially with, you know, being able to play with your friends. Now, why am I interested for a game that's going to be coming out on the Xbox and Windows, which is not something I have for right now? You guys will find out by the end of this portion here. And now, lastly, the show closed off with the showcase and reveal of Anthem. I think Anthem overall does look gorgeous, but at the same time, it does give off some Destiny vibes, and, you know, things like this have come out, you know, really cool at first, but, you know, when the game comes out, it's, you know, like a half-assed product, and people wind up getting ripped off, or just it doesn't meet their expectations, and they're just left disappointed here. So I am cautiously hopeful for this game. It does look cool at first, but for now, we're just gonna have to wait and see how much of it carries over to the final product here, and hopefully it does good in sales, stuff like that, and it's a pretty big hit. And not only that, of course, people like it. Hopefully people give it a good rating. And it is not exclusive, of course, so I definitely have the chance to get my hands on it, but I'll wait for now. And I'm not gonna say no, but I don't want to say yes at the same time here. I'll just wait for more and probably get it once people talk about it and review it fully, and I really know whether it's a good purchase or not. So overall, Microsoft has been quite a jam-packed conference here, a lot more than expected. And this is definitely one of the stronger conferences, as much as I don't really get myself into Xbox all that much. But I will give credit where credit is due, and Microsoft here definitely had a pretty solid conference. Them talking about their new upcoming console being more powerful and all that stuff. That's probably the slowest part, but after that, it was just games, and more games, and it was just going on till almost 2 hours, which was really crazy comparing to the other conferences. But nonetheless, it was a solid one, and kudos to them. And the question leads to whether I'm convinced to get a Xbox One X here. A lot of people are saying it is the right time to really get into Xbox because, of course, it's a lot more powerful and all that stuff. It's the most powerful console to come out to the market soon or whatever. And the question is, will I get it and get myself into the whole world that is Microsoft? The answer is no, but not completely. And that's because I'm actually getting myself a custom built PC, or I'd plan to save up money for a custom built PC and get it built by around fall-ish, probably around September, October, around that time. And I'll probably maybe save up money, and my budget will be $1,500 I'll have like a 1070 and an i7 and all that jazz, and I will definitely save up enough money for that. And once I do, I will keep it in my savings and wait for the Black Friday or Cyber Monday deal and get my PC parts from there. But hopefully I'll actually be able to save up enough money by that time, and we'll be able to join the quote-unquote PC Master Race or whatever. I think it's time that I be able to join my other circle of friends that certainly play a lot of PC games, and if I'm able to join them, I think it'll be a lot of fun. And hopefully by then I will be able to get my PC and get myself going with all these PC games, and maybe get myself into PC modding later on for certain games like all the fighting games or whatever. But for now, I have to save money after Evo. But let's put that to the side. I don't want to go off on a tangent, and let's go on to Sony. Now, let me just start off with this. I was actually pretty disappointed overall with Sony. It really didn't, get me all excited and giddy and all that stuff. It didn't really reveal the other things I was excited about, like Death Stranding, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and of course, maybe a little bit of Last of Us. I was expecting that, but we didn't get any of those things. But instead, we got quite a interesting start, especially with the stream cutting out with the audio and stuff like that. The audio wasn't even working, and Twitch kept buffering and stuff like that because a lot of people were tuning in for Sony, which was understandable because it was that conference that won last year, I think, when it came to whose conference was the best. But I think this time around, because of those high expectations, it definitely landed a negative blow here, in my opinion. But nonetheless, let's talk about the games that were revealed here. So after that interesting start, we did get Uncharted Lost Legacy. Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a new expansion, and of course we have Days Gone. Unfortunately, those three games I'm not interested enough. Funny enough, I do have Uncharted, the the collection, Nathan Drake collection, And unfortunately, I have not even started on the Uncharted games enough here. I actually kind of recorded a Let's Play with Justin, but we haven't really done anything else since because of things happening, and my interest kind of just died down a bit when it came to Uncharted here. So unfortunately, I'm not interested enough for Uncharted Lost Legacy here. Same with Zero Dawn. I was actually interested in playing the first game, but I don't know, something happened, and I kind of just became very cautious, and I think I just kind of fallen out since then. So I just wound up not picking this up altogether. I was gonna pick it up after release, but over time I just kind of fallen out, and a lot had to do with Breath of the Wild and all the other games that were coming out, and I was probably focusing on that instead of Horizon Zero Dawn. But what got me hyped up a lot more was actually Monster Hunter World, that's coming out in early 2018 here. I was never really into Monster Hunter. One of my friends showed me a demo, and I played around with it for probably an hour at most, and kind of played around with a couple classes, but it was hard for me to get into, unfortunately. Something about that gameplay just wasn't really clicking with me. As much as a fan I am with JRPGs, but I don't know, it just was really different, and it was just not the good kind of different. I just could not invest myself into the Monster Hunter games. But I know enough people who are getting this Monster Hunter game, whether it's console or PC, I can, probably get my hands on it and have a lot of fun with them. But, it is a Monster Hunter game, so that feeling might come back, and I'm kind of afraid for that. But having friends may help, just like me getting into the gym at first. Having friends does make a difference, and being able to co-op with friends will probably help me get into Monster Hunter a lot better, and it might sit with me a lot better. So Monster Hunter World is definitely on the maybe list, and I'll probably get it later on, but we'll have to see about the release date. We don't know what's really happening for right now, but it looked cool, definitely, in the trailer. So that definitely got me hyped up a lot more. And the next game I'll talk about, you'll probably hate me for this, but I do want me to get Call of Duty World War II, just because it's a shooter, and it is going back to World War II, which I really liked, especially with World at War. So this really got me curious, and hopefully this will be the Call of Duty that will get me back into it. Who knows? And we'll have to see how this plays out. Next up, we have God of War. This definitely had a lot of my attention, just because it looks good. I think it's a really interesting change of direction comparing to the other games, and just Kratos is just, I don't know, seeing him as a dad is really weird, and it's definitely interesting. So it is one of those games that I would like to rent rather than buy, unfortunately. But hey, if it's a Redbox game and it's around during the time I'm interested enough to buy it or rent it, excuse me, I will definitely give it a try and probably beat it in a couple of nights and return it back to Redbox, and that's about it. Next game, you'll probably hate me as well, is Detroit, because I'm actually probably gonna try to get me this game as cheaply as I can here, because I know it's gonna be a really awkward game. It is by David Cage, and but I don't know, just something about it. I do want to let's play it with a certain group of guys who have been hanging out here for this channel for a good amount of time. So I would like to see their reactions to what we're gonna see for this game here. And I definitely can't imagine the material that these guys will come up with to shit on. I mean, if you haven't caught on already, I'm pretty much buying this game out of a joke here. And if this game is available in Redbox, I will definitely get my hands on it and get as much as I can here for the Let's Play. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is something I do want to talk about for a bit here. And it is one of the biggest, most talked about fighting games right now. And it's not for the good reasons here, unfortunately. A lot of the visuals look really rough. The face models look really bad. And especially with Chun-Li in the trailer, it was just terrible. Oh, what happened? What the fuck happened to her face? Like, Ultimate Marvel 3, Chun-Li looked really good, or in comparison anyway, And you know, Street Fighter V's Chun-Li looks really good. Even by comparison, Street Fighter 4 Chun-Li looks pretty fucking good. Comparing to this Chun-Li, oh my goodness, what happened? And not only Chun-Li, there are other characters that are just having their face models just being torn apart, like Dante and Spencer, even Chris. It is a disaster right now when it comes to the visual department. But from what I've heard so far, I think the gameplay is pretty fun. So I do want to get my hands on the story demo, which came out apparently the same day as this conference, which actually didn't happen because it only came out on the Japanese and European regions. But it is out by now as I record this. But it was just like a really weird thing by Capcom again. It's looking really rough right now for Capcom here when it comes to the visual department anyway. And oh, man, it's really looking bad on Capcom because, you know, ArcSys, especially with Dragon Ball coming up as a fighting game, you have Tekken 7 that came out recently, and that's a really fun game as well. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know what's gonna happen with Marvel Infinite, but despite that, I will give it a chance. I do love me some Marvel vs. Capcom. I've played it from the beginning of Marvel vs. Capcom, the first one as a kid. I did have a lot of fun with Marvel 2, and I played a good amount for Marvel 3. So I will be willing to give Marvel Infinite a chance here. As much as the game looks really ugly right now, but hopefully the UI and the character models will improve by the time the game comes out here. And hopefully the character roster will go stronger and stronger, because right now it's looking a little weak. A lot of the variants are in there, but not really so much of the characters that we wanted to see back in the Marvel series, like, you know, Jin Saotome, Captain Commando, and other characters. And not a lot of the new ones either, but, you know, the rumored Monster Hunter is going to be in the game, I guess. But it is coming out in September 19th, so they don't really have that much time, unfortunately, to work on the game here. So hopefully it'll have enough polish for a lot of people to get the game during launch here. And lastly, we'll be talking about Spider-Man here, which was the game that strangely wrapped up the Sony conference here of all games. I felt like Monster Hunter would have been, you know, a really good game to wrap up on, or Final Fantasy VII Remake even, but unfortunately, Spider-Man was the one. But the Spider-Man game itself doesn't look bad. It was just a really weird game to wrap up on, really. Or even Last of Us 2 would have made sense. But yeah, you know, what can you do? It happens. So Spider-Man itself looks pretty neat, but I'll probably not gonna be picking it up here. But I don't know. Of all games to wrap up the Sony conference, it had to be Spider-Man for some reason. And now, lastly, Nintendo. I know this video has gone a lot longer than expected, but I did want to talk about these three in one video. So, lastly, Nintendo. This was really scary for me because, you know, seeing the other conferences made me scared for Nintendo here. I was really afraid that it was going to be disappointing, and I was really afraid for the games that weren't going to be revealed at Nintendo for this time around. But so I kept my expectations neutral as I could, and when I woke up, I was just like, well, here goes. I'm just gonna down it all in really fast, and so that the taste doesn't hit my tongue all that much. But fortunately, actually, Nintendo came out on top personally for me, because Nintendo came out with the most games I'm actually excited for. It actually blew me away a lot more than expected here, which is really good. So let's slow down a bit. Let's just go one game at a time here. So first off, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was revealed, and after watching a couple of gameplays and stuff like that, it's a strong maybe. I actually wanted to pick up Xenoblade Chronicles a long time ago. That came out on the Wii U, but I actually backed down the last minute and never really paid much attention to it ever since here. But, you know, the idea of having a JRPG like this on the Switch here, you can take it on the go and stuff like that. You can kind of grind and as you play it and stuff like that outside or whatever, or on the go. I think it's really cool. I think this whole Switch idea is really cool. And I think that, being able to grind like that is such a really good feeling. So I think hopefully Xenoblade Chronicles will kind of like definitely kind of escalate that feeling, if you will. It will definitely be one of those grinding games that I will be sticking with if I get my hands on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Next up is Kirby, another surprising game out of nowhere. This is an actually like a fully fledged Kirby game that a lot of people wanted, and I think it's a really cool game, especially with the co-op idea. And I definitely will be picking this up. I'll definitely have my friend Quiet, play along with me. Maybe for a Let's Play, maybe for a couple of videos, who knows. But we will be doing something nonetheless with this game, and it definitely got me excited just because of that idea alone. And I do want me to play, a pretty fun game, and I think Kirby will fill in that part of the curve here. And next up, oh my goodness, it is Pokemon coming to the Switch. And we're not talking about some weird gimmicky Pokemon game. It's actually a core Pokemon RPG for the Switch here. Oh my goodness, one of my dreams is already coming true for the Switch here. It was such a great day for me. That alone already won the conference for me, because I do love me some Pokemon. I did love Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now the question is, what are we getting here? I mean, yes, we know we are getting a quote-unquote a core Pokemon RPG, but we still don't know, and we really have a good idea what's really happening here. Nonetheless, we are getting something that is Pokemon on the Switch here, and I am super excited. I could not believe that was just easily announced. It wasn't like, oh, Ultra Sun and Moon on the Switch or whatever. It's actually a brand new core Pokemon game for the Switch, and I definitely cannot wait. More details on that. I'll definitely try to do my best to give you guys the news and my opinion on it as a lot more details come out throughout the year or two, because they haven't said when they will be getting their next announcement ready. So we'll have to probably wait for a year or even two. So try not to expect too much for right now when it comes to speed. It's just the fact that we are getting a Pokemon game for the Switch. Oh, already awesome. And holy shit, another mind blower, and that is Metroid Prime 4. Oh my god, just these games, just what? Who would have thought that we would have gotten another Metroid game? But it's been far too long, I think, for a Metroid game, and seeing that logo was just wow. It was just such a great day, and I think this day was a really good day for a lot of people, especially for the hardcore Metroid fans that have been waiting so long for an actual good Metroid game. Especially that that one game that kind of left the sour taste in their mouths, which is Federation Force. We can cast that aside now. Metroid Prime 4 is actually happening. Woo! Man, I am actually really excited myself. I'm not that huge of a Metroid fan, but I do really like me some Metroid Prime, especially me playing the first Metroid Prime. I really enjoyed that. Didn't really have enough time to beat it, unfortunately, at the time, but I think now is a good time. Especially with the Wii U having that collection. I'll probably, work on that for a stream or whatever, and then get myself ready for Metroid Prime 4 whenever that gets revealed further in the future. Nonetheless, I'm super happy, along with a lot of people, for Metroid Prime 4. Another Switch game was Yoshi. It still has that yarn look to it, but it's kind of different this time around. We do have some variety in the world here. It takes real life stuff, and it's being applied here for game levels, and I think that's really interesting. But this is one of the only ones that I'm not as interested, but it does look visually a lot more interesting. Since it's not just yarn anymore. It's a lot more materials being used for the visuals for this game. So maybe down the line I will maybe pick this up, but right now it's more towards a no, unfortunately. Next one up is the Breath of the Wild DLC, and the first DLC will be coming June 30th, and I'm pretty psyched actually. I did put down the Breath of the Wild after me being the main part of the story. Haven't really done anything else ever since. I think the DLC that's coming up, it will bring me back into it, especially with the second part of the DLC, which is the story about the champions. And the amiibos look pretty cool. I think Urbosa will probably get a lot of jokes out of this just because that stand where it's placed, you kind of get an idea where this is going. But next up on the list is actually the first game that was revealed, or one of the first games that was revealed, and that's Rocket League coming to the Switch. I think that's really cool. As much as, you know, not a non-Nintendo game it is, I think it's a really cool idea to bring Rocket League to the Switch here. Because of how popular it is, and it even has crossplay. So that's a really awesome idea, and it will definitely bring a lot more sales for the Switch. It's, you know, giving that much more reason for people to buy the Switch now, is because you can play Rocket League in your hands. I do love me some Rocket League, and they will bring some Nintendo exclusive stuff for Rocket League, so I will probably be willing enough to re-buy the game for the Switch here. And next up is Super Mario Odyssey, which is the biggest game that Nintendo has for this year. They, you know, reveal a lot more, and it just gave me all the more reason to buy it. I was already invested for this game, especially when it was first revealed, when the first big Switch Direct came out, and there was, you know, Super Mario Odyssey showing off the big old city, you know, New Donk City, and I was already invested, and I am definitely a lot more invested now. And it just looks way cooler. You could put on costumes for Mario, and it just looks all around awesome. And I'm definitely looking forward to it a lot more for Super Mario Odyssey. I really cannot wait to get my hands on it for the Switch here, and just really can't wait to explore the worlds. And I just can't even talk straight because I'm so excited for this game and all the other games that have been revealed. So Super Mario Odyssey, I will be definitely waiting for that and get my hands on it whenever it launches, which is October 17th. Oh my god, it's stuffing October with all these games here. One other game I do want to bring up just for a bit, and that's Samus Returns, which is a Metroid game for the 3DS, which was not talked about on Nintendo's conference, or conference video, whatever you want to call it, strangely. But I guess they really wanted to focus on the Switch here, so that's why I guess they left it out. But it is worth enough to be a reveal, because we're getting 2 Metroid games coming for not only the Switch but for the 3DS. So hey, you know, everyone is able to get a Metroid game, a brand new good Metroid game nonetheless here. I mean, we don't know if it's good, but a true Metroid game nonetheless, for both of those consoles or systems. So I think that's really awesome for Nintendo to be doing that. And of course, meanwhile, Splatoon, Pokken, and ARMS have been kind of talked about, but we also got some Fire Emblem Warriors, and I'm still invested in that game as well. I do love me some Warrior games, and I did, you know, play Hyrule Warriors, of course. I did have fun with it at the time, but, you know, it's one of those games that will get stale after you're done with the main part of the game. I did fall out of that eventually, but Fire Emblem Warriors, excuse me, I'm excited for that as well, because I think it's really perfect for a Warriors game. It's just, you know, it's all about the weapons and, you know, the swords and the lances and the axes and stuff like that. I think it's perfect for a warrior game. And we got more characters revealed, such as Corrin, which is really cool because it's the female Corrin, funny enough. And I do like the female Corrin a lot more than the male Corrin, just because of the design. I don't know, it's just something about the male Corrin I don't like too much. So really glad that they are focusing on the female one. And we did get Marth and a couple other characters as well, which is really cool, including the original characters for the game itself. So it got me excited nonetheless, and I can't wait for that game to come out as well, along with Mario and Pokemon and Metroid and all that other stuff. So, so naturally, I think this conference was the one that won it for me, because, you know, it definitely had the most games I'm excited for out of all the conferences, and I was just so blown away comparing to the other games, especially with Pokemon coming to the Switch, Metroid Prime 4 coming to the Switch, and of course we have Mario and all the other stuff coming to the Switch as well, which is just super crazy. And I am super excited for that, and I cannot wait for some of the games are coming out for this year. So again, Nintendo won it for me personally. And it's really funny because it was such a short presentation comparing to the other conferences, but Nintendo was able to just win it for me just because, I don't know, it's just nice and condensed. It just went to game after game after game after game. It has such good reveals for me, and it just got me way more excited for the other games, and I just really can't wait for those to come out. I mean, I guess the only bad thing from this presentation is just that it's around 25 minutes. It wasn't that long, but it was nice and condensed. It definitely had enough. Okay, the only other game that really would have won it for me when it comes to conferences and stuff like that, if they revealed Animal Crossing for the Switch, oh my goodness. Even just like a little teaser or just like a little announcement, like, hey, we're working on an Animal Crossing game for the Switch. That already would have been enough for me to, you know, say this conference won it for me. And it would have completed it, in my opinion. But for now, we do have Splatoon 2 to focus on. So maybe next year we'll get Animal Crossing on the Switch revealed for, you know, during E3 or whatever. And I will be super excited for that game. But despite the short time length, and of course no Animal Crossing, it still won it for me. And funny enough, Bethesda was the next shortest one, but that definitely was not the best one out of all of them. But I think Nintendo did a good job getting me excited, at least. And just again, I really can't wait for this game to come out. And that'll be it for the conferences of E3 2017. And my thoughts about them. If you guys have any comments for any of the conferences, leave me down below. And what games are you excited for this year or early 2018 here? Leave me down below, and I'd love to check them out. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you're not already, and hit the bell for notifications for new videos like these. Thank you guys so much. This has been my thoughts, opinions, anything like that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. Sean, out.